Hi, and welcome to episode 7 of CultureWatch Radio. I'm Andrew Smith, and with me is Bill Muhlenberg. This week, we look at how a perfectly healthy culture can be destroyed, and how one man's warning has been eerily spot on. And it wasn't one that came from you, Bill.
No, that's right. Actually, there's a few others who've been sounding the alarm for quite some time now, and I'd been meaning to write a piece on a kind of a how-to guide to destroy culture. You know, if you had a group of Martians who wanted to come down to Earth and destroy the planet, how would they do it? So I've always thought the whole sexualization of culture, and well, especially targeting our children, would be a pretty good way to bring down a culture. And in fact, that's often been the case. But yes, way back in the 60s, one American radio personality said much the same.
In fact, let's take a listen to some of what he said right now.
So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have
Bill, that clip that we've just heard, who was that man, and tell us about him?
Yeah, well, Aussies may or may not be aware of him, but as an American growing up in the 50s and 60s, he was actually a fairly popular radio personality by the name of Paul Harvey. And that clip was originally first broadcast in around 1965, so a rather prophetic word that he gave. He updated that talk various times through the years, and it was really one of his more popular talks, but certainly a very sober warning indeed about what's happening in our culture.
Bill, there seems to be an emphasis here on targeting children, but also getting them to start to turn against their parents.
Yeah, well, that's quite right. All the real dictators, not just the Martians, whether the Marxists or others, they often knew the best way they could impose their tyranny would be to attack the family, separate kids from parents. That's always been an effective tactic of those who want to remake society in their own image. So obviously the warnings that we had back in the 60s, well, we're certainly seeing it being played out right now.
Bill, as we all know, you go from a highly functioning adult to like just silly and stupid when you suddenly become a parent. And parents must in turn be shocked and outraged when their kids come home from school and they find out what's being taught to them.
Yes, exactly right. We find this far too often, which is partly why so many parents are now doing homeschooling, because they're tired of the war against their own values that their kids are getting at public school. And while there's many obvious candidates, you think of all the various courses and sex education and so on that are being foisted upon quite young children. And boy, when the parents do find out, and by the way, often they're not even told about it. Sometimes the kids are told, don't tell your parents about this. But when they do learn about it, yeah, they're quite shocked. Why are you pushing this baloney onto my children? Something as personal and intimate as this kind of topic is probably best done at home anyways, so it gets quite scary, and we see what the schools are doing to our children, often behind our backs.
Bill, doesn't anybody who looks after children have some sort of duty of care to them?
Well, absolutely, they should. Schools, in theory, are just minding our kids. Parents are the real source of both mental and moral education of our children. So those who are looking after our kids, especially the younger kids, they should be very careful indeed about what they're doing, what they're teaching them. But sadly, Often many of these school teachers are pushing an agenda. They've got clear goals as to what they want to do, and it's certainly not the values that their parents have.
And they're definitely using the education system to sexualise children.
Well, there's no question about it. In fact, we've had, here in Australia, the Australian Education Union has come out and said that in its own publications, that we need to retrain kids not to be homophobic and so on. You know, all these silly terms they use. That's been part of the curriculum for ages. So we have to be aware what the schools are doing to our children.
Bill, this is the question that probably begs to be asked, but nobody's gone there yet. Pedophiles who target children will show and tell them things in order to soften them up and to break down the natural barriers so that they can have their way. It makes it easier. What difference is there between what's happening in the schools with this Safe Schools program and the like, and what a pedophile or other sexual abuser would want to do?
Good question indeed. The Safe Schools program, so-called, is really just a pro-homosexual program. But many of these sex ed programs are really about softening up our kids, exposing them way too early to all kinds of really adult content. And while, look, we're not saying their schools are full of pedophiles or even those who push the pedophile agenda, you'd certainly have to ask that question. Isn't the outcome basically the same? Aren't you getting the same results where kids have been so softened up and desensitized to even basic morality, as all things sexual have been just pushed upon them at an early age? Well, certainly those outside who would like to get access to kids, they could only be rubbing their hands with glee with some of the things that are going on in our school system.
And all this is happening at the same time as we've just had a great 60 minutes expose on pedophile activity in high levels of the society in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly right. We're becoming more aware of just how entrenched this is, how evil and diabolical this problem is of adults wanting to get access to our children for sexual and other reasons. Well, you have to ask, how much is our school system sort of doing the same? Adults pushing their agendas onto innocent children and using our kids as guinea pigs in their social experiments. So it's a real worry, and parents certainly need to wake up here.
Bill, for parents who might feel that they only get their kids back at the end of the day and they're somewhat disempowered, what can they do?
Well, as we mentioned, a lot of parents in frustration are pulling out of the public school system, either using independent schools, Christian schools, and so on, or simply homeschooling. We have way too much stuff happening, not just with sex ed. You got death education, drug education. I mean, everything that shouldn't be there, everything except the 3 R's that really should be emphasized. More and more parents are saying, I've got to get control of my children. They're losing it in the schools. So that's certainly one option. But if you are going to keep your kids in the public schools, you need to be aware. You need to get involved, get into the leadership roles, become a school council president or whatever. We need to be involved with our kids, or we're going to lose them early on.
And as always, more information is available at the Culture Watch website. And we'll see you again next week with another episode of Culture Watch Radio.